Hey everybody, it is July 11th, 2016, and I'm finally getting around to making a video. I've been wanting to do this for a while, just haven't gotten around to it. But today is World Benzodiazepine Awareness Day, and this is something I'm very passionate about, and I figured this would be a good first video for me to make. My hope is I can raise awareness on the dangers of these pharmaceutical poisons and hopefully prevent someone from ever taking one of these drugs. But also, if you or someone you know is dealing with a bunch of health issues and not getting any answers from doctors, but they are on a bunch of medications, the medications may be what's causing the person to feel like dog shit. So hopefully this message can get out there. There's far too many people right now at this very moment in a living hell because of something their doctor has prescribed them. So the more we can get this message out to people, the more lives we can save and prevent from going through this hell. So for those of you that aren't familiar, and first of all, I didn't really plan for this, so I'm just going to kind of speak from the heart and see where it goes. I apologize if it's a little choppy, but I'll try to keep it as simple as possible. For those of you that don't know or are familiar with what benzodiazepines are, the most common names for them are Xanax, Klonopin, Valium, and Ativan. And there's many others, but they all come from the same class of drugs, and they're prescribed for many things. The most common being, anxiety attacks, generalized anxiety, things like that. But nowadays, they're prescribed for many off-label uses like ear ringing, headaches, insomnia, seizures, stuff like that. And so anyways, I'll just share a little bit of my experience with these drugs, and then hopefully by sharing my experience you can understand why I'm passionate about this, and more so why these drugs these doctors are prescribing can actually harm you far more than benefit you. So yeah, to start it off, benzodiazepines, the typical story is someone goes to the ER or their doctor and they complain of like heart palpitations, shortness of breath, the typical anxiety symptoms, right? And the doctor will say, oh, it sounds like anxiety, and they'll say, take this pill and it should help you. So and that's all the information they're given. Just take the pill and it'll help you. And so the person will take the Xanax or Klonopin, whatever, and initially they'll feel really good. It'll calm them down. They'll feel relaxed for once in their life, and they'll and some will think, oh, I finally found something that works for me, and the issue is these doctors are trained to only prescribe these for 2 weeks at the most. But that's just not what's happening. People are getting stuck on these drugs for months and years, many years. Some people over 20 years have been on these drugs. And what happens is the more you take these drugs, the initial effect wears off, and someone reaches what is called tolerance, or where the drugs no longer work. And this is different than addiction in the sense of most people that are taking these are just taking these as prescribed from their doctor and aren't taking it to get high. They're taking it to truly help relieve certain symptoms that they're experiencing. And what happens then is, as the longer you take these drugs, the more your brain adjust to them, and it stops producing the chemicals that you need to have balance in your body. And so what happens then is these drugs affect your GABA receptors in your brain, which is your calming chemical. And as you take them, the brain stops naturally producing GABA, and your GABA receptors become damaged. And so people start having all these symptoms. At some point, the drugs stop working. They don't feel calm anymore. They start to have anxiety. They start to have other symptoms throughout their body. Even like muscle pain, muscle spasms, and all these widespread symptoms throughout the body. And so they go to their doctor and they start complaining like, "Hey doctor, I'm having worsening symptoms. I'm having trouble walking. I can't think. A lot of brain fog, and I just don't feel myself." And what happens then is doctor's like, "Oh, well, it sounds like we probably need to increase your dose. It's not working." And so then, instead of thinking the drug is what's causing the issues, they think, "Okay, well, it's not working. Let's give you more." So this will continue on and on and on, and continuously the person's health is declining, and not once does the doctor question, "Oh, maybe it's the medication you're on." And by this time, the person is on 7 different drugs, has no idea what could possibly be causing what. And so what happened in my case, I'll speak on my story. When I went to jail, or I was on Klonopin on and off for a couple years, never had any issues with it. But when I went to jail in July of 2014, I got sentenced to 4 months. And when I went to jail, I got taken off cold turkey. They just stripped me off them. And about a month into my jail sentence, I woke up one day in my cell, and I can't even, I don't even know exactly how to describe it all, but like it felt like there's a 20-pound bag of bricks on my chest. My skin was crawling. I had bugs crawling all over me. My skin was burning. Mentally, I was like in this extreme terror state that like I had just walked into the gates of hell, like I was possessed. And I screamed, like, get a nurse, I'm dying. And they took me to the medical room, and my blood pressure and heart rate was through the roof, and they're like, "Oh, it just sounds like anxiety." And I'm like, "No, this is not anxiety. Something has happened to me." And this started my whole long decline in health. And so from there, every time I was in jail for the next 4 months, and they put me in a holding cell with like 2 other people who and it was just like a dark holding cell with like dust and shit all over the ground. And for 2 months straight, I stared at a wall and just rocked back and forth. I literally thought that I'd lost, like my brain had just snapped. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was having delusions. Like I was convinced the jail staff was poisoning my food. I was scared to go out of my cell. When I would take a shower, it felt like knives were stabbing me while I was taking a shower. And my mom would come and visit me, and I felt so disconnected from the world. Like there's a part of me that I knew that, like there's a part of my real self that knew that this wasn't me, and that there was something that happened to me. But like I was so terrified and was so disconnected from the world. Like my mom would come and visit me, and I would just cry. And I would ask her, like, am I ever going to get better? Like, have I lost my mind? And, she'd reassure me that we're going to get through this, whatever. And we had no idea what was wrong with me. I didn't have any knowledge of what benzodiazepine withdrawal was or anything. And so, anyways, fast forward, I get out of jail. I'm absolutely insane at this point. I have no idea. Like, most people were excited to get out of jail. I was like, I don't want to live like this. I was terrified. I didn't know what was wrong with me. And so I went back to my psychiatrist and I told him what's going on with me. And he prescribes me like 6 different medications, gives me like 4 different diagnoses, puts me on 6 times the amount of Klonopin and like 3 other drugs. And I got zero relief. Nothing worked. And so here I was, taking this medication, and still feeling like absolutely insane. Don't know what happened to me, kind of deal. And so I started becoming very suicidal. And I thought, if my brain snapped, whatever, I do not want to live this way. And so I started drinking again heavily. And, I would drink a bottle of vodka. I'd have to drink when I woke up. And I'd drink a bottle of vodka and I'd still have symptoms. And it was just the most miserable existence. I couldn't get any relief no matter how hard I tried. And so at this point, I started researching online, typing in my symptoms, whatever, and I came across the Ashton Manual, which was written by Dr. Heather Ashton, and I'll post a link to this below, but she dedicated her work to this phenomenon, the damages that benzodiazepines cause in someone's brain, and how to safely get off the drugs and what to expect for healing. And so I started reading all these symptoms that she was describing and what was happening, and talking to all these people that were experiencing this. And I finally got some relief, thinking I haven't lost my mind, and that these drugs that I was on were causing this and created all this damage. And let me be clear here too. I realized that my heavy drinking and addiction from the past didn't help this at all either. But I also speak on the damages that benzodiazepines cause, because there's thousands of people that have zero history of addiction that experience the same exact damage that I've experienced from these drugs, and never even drank or did any drugs, and end up bedridden for years. So I'm not like discrediting that the heavy drinking and drugs I've used in the past obviously didn't help me, but it's important to know that most people that get on these drugs don't have zero history of addiction and still end up, damaged from these for years. So anyways, I started doing my research. I found out what was really going on, and this started my whole decline in health. And I was relieved that I found that I wasn't crazy. Well, I was crazy, but just a different crazy. And but at the same time, it was so horrifying what I was experiencing that I still didn't want to live. So I continued drinking, and ended up in jail. As many of you know, January 23rd, 2014, I got arrested, and they cold turkeyed me off everything again. And at this point, I didn't even care. I didn't care what they did. I was suicidal. I didn't want to live. I was scared to die, scared to live, whatever. And so I'm in jail, and I'm going through all these symptoms again, and not a fun place to be going through this. And anyways, this started my whole I realized at that point the only way I was going to heal was through staying off these drugs and allowing my brain to heal. But the biggest issue with this all, so over this last 2.5 years, I, I'm just gonna go through. I have my Kindle here, and I'm just gonna go through this list of symptoms that I've experienced over the last 2.5 years. Blurred vision, body temperature fluctuations, brain fog, feeling like my brain's been moving in my head, burning pain, sensations, inability to concentrate, confusion, crawling sensations on skin, joint pain, crying spells where I just started crying out of nowhere, depersonalization, depression, derealization, dizziness, balance problems, vivid dreams, dry mouth, electric zaps, shock sensations throughout my body, emotional blunting, apathy, exhaustion, extreme thirst, dry eyes, sore eyes, face pain, numbness all throughout the body, feeling like I'm moving when I'm sitting still, fatigue, extreme like fear, impending doom, fits where like I can't control bodily movements. My hands and arms start jerking everywhere, legs jerking, flu-like symptoms, extreme stomach issues to where like I can't tolerate hardly any food, hair loss, hallucinations. I was hallucinating in jail, extreme headaches, hypersensitivity to lights and sound, and heart palpitations. My heart rate would go to, I called an ambulance every day for 4 months. My heart rate, I'd wake up, my heart rate would be 180. Heaviness, feeling like my whole body, like that there's just like like an elephant sitting on me. Extreme hormonal like imbalances, tremors, shaking, vibrating throughout the body, insomnia, horrible insomnia, intrusive thoughts, irritability, joint muscle pain, jumpiness, loss of libido, memory loss, mood swings, moving sensations, muscle twitches, horrible twitches, jerks, spasms. I couldn't walk for 3 months, at least 3 months. I lived on, for 8 months, I lived off of fruit smoothies, and I laid on the floor 24/7 thinking I was going to die. And I got down to, I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't walk, and I'd go to my doctor, and I'd tell him, like, look, man, I can't walk. I feel like I can't breathe. My heart's palpitating. And I would leave there saying, oh, it sounds like anxiety. And it's just unbelievable, like that, just the misunderstanding of what these drugs do to someone. The continuing on, nausea, nightmares, obsessive thoughts, paranoid thoughts, restless legs, rage, anger. I used to have bouts where I'd out of nowhere, I'd have this rage where I literally felt like I could fucking like lift a car up and throw it at someone. Just insane stuff. Extreme weight loss. Like, I'm severely underweight. I was 15 pounds lighter than I was right now, which led me to the hospital, 7 months ago in Colorado. But anyways, there needs to be something done about this. Doctors, we need to realize that doctors, there's doctors, when they go to med school, they spend an hour at most on nutrition, okay? The rest of the time is spent on pharmaceutical drugs and how they work in the body, okay? So you can't go to a doctor and expect to be cured of anything. They treat symptoms, okay? And until we realize this, there will continuously be more and more people slaughtered by these pharmaceutical companies. It's not the answer. It is not the answer. On antidepressants, there's a warning label saying these may increase suicidal ideation. So we are treating depression with suicide pills. And I mean, it's like when you truly look at it for its base value and look at what is really going on right now in our country with doctors and our medical and our mental health field, it's nothing short of criminal, and it's pseudoscience. You know, you go to a psychiatrist, you answer 10 questions. You know, are you sad? Yes, I am sad, doctor. You know, like I'm a human being, right? And you go to these doctors and they ask you 10 questions, and your brain is full of trillions of neurons. And in 10 questions, they guess between hundreds of drugs, hundreds of chemicals, like, and they just, you know, try to guess at which one is gonna work for you. And it doesn't. It's like pouring gas on a fire. You have no idea how these chemicals are gonna react to your brain chemistry and your body. And there's enough information out there today to know that this is not right, and we have to change this. There's people, I know people all over the world that are in bed right now wondering if they're on their last breath or not, living in constant terror, akathisia, where their bodies, it feels like they're going to crawl out of their skin and they can't sit still, and will pace their house for hours, days at a time, without sleeping. And all they're being told is, oh, it sounds like anxiety, by their doctors, and it's criminal. So I don't know. I just I had to get this video out there. There has to be something done for this. We have to come together as a community. Mental health is not going to be fixed through a pill. Depression will not be fixed through a pill. Anxiety will not be fixed through a pill. Through community, loving one another, getting out in nature, eating a healthy whole food diet, we can start making changes and you know, start saving lives. I've lost these internet groups I'm in from these drugs, and if there's a support group on Facebook of the drugs that your doctor prescribes you, do not fucking take them. There's a reason why there's support groups for that drug, okay? It's not good for you. So through community and all this, we can help heal each other from these from whatever we're dealing with mentally, you know. And I would say majority of the people I see in the mental health field are dealing with trauma of something in the past, and if that's not addressed, no pill is gonna fix that. It'll numb you down, and it will destroy your brain chemistry. So yeah, I don't know, like, the more we start talking about this, the more awareness on this topic, the more we're gonna benefit as a whole. And these doctors, man, I don't know. These doctors, they're not who you want to trust. I promise you that. If you're having cardiac arrest, okay, great, go to the ER. Okay, I'm not saying don't stay away from the ER. Like, if you're having a heart attack, okay, in trauma situations, you get shot, they're great. It's great to go to medical. You know, it's great to go to the ER, but I promise you, if you want, a cure, it's not going to be found with your doctor. It's not. I promise you that. And you gotta stay educated. And yeah, I don't know. I've this video is super long now because I get really fired up about this issue. But my biggest thing is my hope is that you do your research, and and that somehow we can start exposing what's really going on behind the scene, and that we come together and heal holistically. Okay, the way we were designed to heal. So that I'm losing my train of thought now, but stay away from these poisons, and please share this video. Please just stay educated, and that's all I have. I love you all. Bye.